Gather round, folks, and let me spin you a yarn about the Salvagers. It's a tale of grit, innovation, and the kind of stubborn hope that just won't quit. It all started in the smoldering ruins of Washington, D.C., back in 2102. The last U.S. president, a firebrand salvager named Garnet Higgins, led her people out into the wasteland. Now you might think that was the end of the story, but let me tell you, it was just the beginning. From 2105 to 2112, we saw something remarkable happen. The Salvagers, they didn't just adapt, they evolved. They became something new, wild, and free. They called it the rise of the crawler. Picture this, massive land ships rolling across the wasteland like great metal beasts. Some were quadrupedal titans, others sleek tunneling machines, and some were bipedal walk-in cities, tall as mountains and twice as stubborn. These weren't just vehicles, mind you. They were entire communities on mechanical legs. Inside these crawlers, life was different. Resources were shared, nobody went without, and every decision was made by the whole community. It was like the old trade unions had come back to life and learned to walk. By 2112, hundreds of these salvager communities had reorganized into what they called salvage unions. Direct democracy and collective ownership were their bread and butter. It was a sight to behold, I tell you. Now, while all this was happening, them corporate types in the North American Prosperity Alliance, NAPA for short, were having their own troubles. From 2112 to 2116, their alliance started to fray at the edges. They were too busy keeping their own people in line with debt bondage and threats of exile to pay much mind to the salvagers. But that didn't mean the salvagers had it easy. The salvage unions, they kept up a low-level insurgency, all while just trying to survive. Sometimes, they'd even take jobs from one corp to hit another. It wasn't pretty, but it kept food on the table and fuel in the crawlers. Then came 2117, and with it, a fella named Stormin Morgan Harper. Harper had a notion that the salvagers could take the fight to the corpse. His plan became known as the Tin Soldier Campaign, and it was as bold as it was dangerous. Harper organized a dozen crawlers for coordinated attacks on corpo strongholds. They hit a mech production facility near the Detroit Arcology first. Had some success too, but them Pinkerton mechs eventually drove them back. They tried again in Denver, Seattle, and Atlanta, but each time they came away with little to show for it. It was the Atlanta operation that really went sideways. Their experimental EMP devices backfired something fierce, caused a meltdown in the facility's power core, turned a big chunk of the area into an uninhabitable wasteland. The corps didn't take kindly to that. No, sir. What followed was ugly. The corps launched pacification operations against salvager strongholds. The Wolf Creek Massacre in Oregon saw multiple crawlers and friendly wasteland communities wiped off the map. It was a dark time, and many lost hope. But not all. A young buck named Delroy Mannis, who'd been with Harper's crew, he learned from those mistakes. He joined up with Local 5-7, working under President Higgins herself. And in 2120, Mannis showed the world what a true salvager could do. They called it Operation Wendigo. Mannis, now leading Local 5-7's Alpha Lance, set his sights on a massive corpo convoy. This wasn't just any convoy, mind you. It was hauling crucial water purification systems and weather control technology from Chicago to the Denver Arcology. Mannis knew the dust sea like the back of his hand. He used jury-rigged weather control devices and some well-placed explosives to whip up a dust storm that would have made the Dust Bowl look like a gentle breeze. It threw the corporate forces into a tizzy, and that's when Mannis and his crew struck. For 48 hours, they fought across the dust sea. Mannis led the charge in his walker, a mean machine he called American Venom. When the dust settled, the salvagers had snagged most of the convoy's resources. They dealt the corpse a black eye and made it out with minimal losses. The corpse tried to hush it up, of course, but you can't keep a good story down. Tales of Mannis and his American Venom spread through the wastes like wildfire. Songs were sung, stories were told, and hope, well, hope started to grow again. And that, my friends, is how the Salvagers learned to not just survive, but to thrive in a world that had left them for dead. It's a testament to the human spirit, to the power of community, and to the simple fact that you just can't keep a good idea down, not even in a world gone to hell in a handbasket.